I own 293 books. Of the 293 books that I own, I have read 116 of them. 182 of my books I got secondhand. This is entirely useless information, but I felt like sharing it with you anyway. Although I don't want this channel to be a booktube channel, I really can't deny that books and reading and literature are a huge part of my life, and they always have been. I have been a bookworm since before I can remember, and yet, in all my years of content creation, I have never shown you my book collection. I've always wanted to do a bookshelf tour, but I just never had a good enough setup to pull one off. I still don't have a good enough setup to pull one off. I have made this video for no other reason than I felt like it, but I do have to warn you that it was very impromptu, and because of that, I was winging it, and this video is most likely going to be a mess. So if you're looking for one of those super extravagant aesthetic bookshelf tours, I can assure you, you are very much in the wrong place. But if you just like to see every single book that I own, then I hope you enjoy this video. On the first shelf, I have got some classics, some historical fiction, some adult contemporary, some crime fiction, some drama, things like that. And then I've also got these 3 NES cartridges, 4 actually, and this little statuette of this cat. On the second shelf, I have got my absolute favorite books. I will show them to you in a second. And then I've got another little cat statue there. I've got a penguin ornament. I've got another penguin ornament, although it fell and its beak broke, and that's sad. And one of my favorite games ever. So it sits with the favorite books. And then on the third shelf, it's pretty much the rest of the science fiction and fantasy, because those are like exclusively science fiction and fantasy. And I said that wrong, actually. There are books on this shelf that I haven't read, but they are by my favorite authors, so they get to stay there anyway. But yeah, then this one is the rest of the fantasy and science fiction, also my own books. And then I've got this little rainbow sponge, this R2D2 figurine, but actually it's an alarm clock, it just doesn't work anymore, and this random container full of marbles and a bookmark. And then I've got some more fantasy, and I've got the children's books and young adult. I've also got this little container that I've had since I was a kid, and another NES cartridge, and this little plushie because it's cute. And then at the very bottom of the shelf, I've got my non-fiction books, the ones that are just really big, like coffee table books, kind of, and yeah, non-fiction, and some reference as well. And then also, I've got some books that aren't reference or non-fiction or coffee table. I just didn't know where else to put them because there wasn't enough space for them where they actually belong. And then this pile of books here are books that aren't mine. They're just here for some unknown reason. So yeah, that's the shelf. And now I will show you all of the books individually. So, on shelf 1, I have got The Animals of Farthingwood by Colin Dann, a collection of George Orwell stories, and also a copy of Animal Farm, Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes, Pride and Prejudice and Emma by Jane Austen, Catch-22 by Joseph Heller, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey, if that's how you say it, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, Dracula by Bram Stoker, Tales of Mystery and Imagination, a short story collection by Edgar Allan Poe, Call of the Wild and White Fang by Jack London, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, The Secret Garden and the Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett, Anne of Green Gables and Anne of Avonlea by L.M. Montgomery, The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, and Love is Blind by William Boyd. This book I haven't actually read, but it's an ARC copy that I received as a gift for participating in a talent show at a bookstore, so that's pretty cool. I have also got The Woman Who Went to Bed for a Year, Adrian Mole and the Weapons of Mass Destruction, and also The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, age 13 and 3/4, but I forgot that I had that book, so it's not with the others. All three of them by Sue Townsend. I've got And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini, The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd, Dear John by Nicholas Sparks, The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, Slumdog Millionaire, which is actually called Q&A, but this one was published after the movie did really well, by Vika Swarup, Life of Pi and the High Mountains of Portugal by Jan Martel, The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer, The Silver Linings Playbook by Matthew Quick, My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult, Grace's Table by Sally Piper, and Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I would honestly give this book 5 stars. I read it earlier this year, and holy shit, it's amazing. I know that it is shrouded in controversy, but I really don't care about that. This book is amazing, and I really enjoyed reading it. Then I've got A Painted House by John Grisham, Once on a Moonless Night by Dai Sijier, forgive me for the mispronunciation, The Winter Soldier by Daniel Mason, Lucky Boy by Shanthi Sekaran, The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling, The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman, We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver, The Bedside Milligan by Spike Milligan. I just have to add here that all of the Spike Milligan books are scattered across this bookshelf. I'm sorry they're not together. I don't know why that happened. I've also got A Love Story for Bewildered Girls by Emma Morgan, City of Strangers by Ian Mackenzie, The Lovely Bones by Alan Sebald, a book that I tried to read this year, but I couldn't get into it, so I DNF'd it. Maybe I'll try again at some point. Maybe I won't, we'll see. And I've got The Language of Flowers by Vanessa Diffenbow, Angels and Demons by Dan Brown, Don't Judge Me, It Was a Gift. I've also got The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro, and a collection of Manette Walters books, including Acid Row, The Shape of Snakes, which is also a 5-star read, by the way, The Echo, The Ice House, and The Breaker. For some unknown reason, when I was taking photos of all of my books, I kind of forgot to include Watership Down by Richard Adams. I bought this for £5 at a secondhand bookstore. I don't know how much £5 is in dollars. It's something ridiculous, like 40 cents or something, so yeah, anyway, just wanted to show you that I do have a copy of this book. Onto the shelf that has my favorites. I have got Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I've also got Tales of Beedle the Bard, Quidditch Through the Ages, and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Obviously, all of these books are by J.K. Rowling. Then I've got Neverness, The Broken God, The Wild, and War in Heaven, The Lightstone, Parts 1 and 2, Lord of Lies, Black Jade, and The Diamond Warriors, all by David Zindel. And then I've got my Raymond D. Feist collection, which includes Magician, Silverthorn, and A Darkness at Sethanon, which are the Rift War Saga, Prince of the Blood and the King's Buccaneer, which are the Krondor Sun series, Shadow of a Dark Queen, Rise of a Merchant Prince, Rage of a Demon King, and Shards of a Broken Crown, which make up the Serpent War Saga. Then I've got Talon of the Silverhawk, King of Foxes, and Exile's Return, which are the Conclave of Shadows books. And then I've got Flight of the Nighthawks, Into a Dark Realm, and Wrath of a Mad God, which are the Dark War Saga. And I've got Rides of Dread Legion and At the Gates of Darkness, which are the Demon War Saga. I've also got Fairy Tale, Daughter of the Empire, and Servant of the Empire, which was co-written with Jenny Wirtz. And I've also got Krondor, Tear of the Gods, and a Dutch book called De Wereld van de Magier. I think it's just a companion novel, but yeah, it's in Dutch. And then I have got Raymond de Feist's most recent books, which are separate from the Rift War, King of Ashes and Queen of Storms, which are two in the Firemain series. I have also got Northern Lights, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass, which are his Dark Materials, as well as The Book of Dust, all by Philip Pullman. And then I've got The Name of the Wind, The Wise Man's Fear, and The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss, and The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. As for the rest of my fantasy and sci-fi, I have got a collection of Stephen R. Donaldson books, including 2 copies of Lord Fowl's Bane, again, 5 stars, The Illith War and The Power That Preserves, which make up the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. I've got The Wounded Land, The One Tree, and White Gold Wielder, which are the second Chronicles of Thomas Covenant, and I've also got a book called Gildenfire. I have got The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, Lion of Macedon by David Gemmell, and then I've got my small Neil Gaiman collection, including Good Omens, American Gods, Coraline, Anansi Boys, and The Ocean at the End of the Lane. And then I've got some Stephen King books, including Rose Madder, Dreamcatcher, and The Green Mile, Empire in Black and Gold by Adrian Tchaikovsky, The Humans by Matt Haig, The Android's Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. I've also got the Well of Echoes series by Ian Irvine. It's 4 books, including Geomancer, which I have read and enjoyed, Tetrarch, or Tetrarch, however you pronounce that, Alchemist, and Chimera. And then I've got Imagica and Sacrament by Clive Barker, and The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. Then I have a little bit of a Tad Williams collection, which includes Shadow March, Otherland, The War of the Flowers, a 5-star read, The Dirty Streets of Heaven, and Tail Chaser's Song. And then I have Witches Abroad and Equal Rights by Terry Pratchett, and Contact by Carl Sagan. I've also got The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Life, the Universe, and Everything, and The Salmon of Doubt by Douglas Adams. And then the greatest books in the world, The Fifth Warrior and Resweber by me. I've got A Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, and A Feast for Crows, all by George R.R. Martin, of course. I've also got The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman, The End of the Day by Claire North, Dune by Frank Herbert, Curse of the Mistwraith, or The Curse of the Mistwraith by Jenny Wirtz, and The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, undoubtedly a 5-star read. On the next shelf, I have a bit of a David Eddings collection, although I have never read any of these books. I have got Pawn of Prophecy and Queen of Sorcery, which, if I'm not mistaken, make up the Bulgariad, or start off the Bulgariad. I've got Guardians of the West and King of the Murgos, which are the Malorian, again, if I'm not mistaken. And then I've got The Diamond Throne, Dome of Fire, The Younger Gods, and The Redemption of Alphalus. I've also got Jonathan Strange and Mr. Gnarl by Susanna Clarke, Clash of the Titans by Alan Dean Foster, Heidi by Joanna Spyri, Danny the Champion of the World by Roald Dahl, The Invasion, The Unknown, and The Discovery, part of the Animorph series by K.A. Applegate, Casper and the Glitter, which is probably my favorite children's story of all time, and Meteorite Spoon by Philip Ridley. And then these books I grouped together because they all feel the same to me, in the sense that they are books that were given to me as gifts or rewards when I was a kid around the same time. I would say when I was 9 or 10 years old. So even though they're not related to each other, I decided to display them together. I've got Not Just a Witch by Eva Ibbotson, Magic Takeoff by Toby Forward, Goodbye Gemma by Noel Streatfeild, and Starstruck Encore by Diane Redmond. Then I have a book called Morgan the Rectifier by Chris Powling, a book that I reread regularly. I don't know what it is about this book, but I have pretty much loved it my whole life long. It's very special to me. I've also got The Silver Sword by Ian Seralia, A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline I don't know how you pronounce that. Langle. And then I've got a book called Sixth Sense. I don't know who wrote this. And also a book called Laurie's Song, which lost its cover by Suzanne Rand. I stuck them together because they're the same cheesy nonsense aimed at teen girls in the late 90s or early 2000s or thereabouts. Then I've got A Book of Milliganimals, Silly Verse for Kids, and Pacoon by Spike Milligan. Please don't ask me why Pacoon is with the kids' books. It shouldn't be, but it is. And then I have The 18th Emergency by Betsy Byers, The Land of Utter Nonsense by Colin West, which also isn't a kid's book. It looks like one, but it's not. And a little book on gymnastics that I have had for most of my life by Christopher Maynard. Then there's About a Boy by Nick Hornby, also not a kid's book, I don't know what it's doing here, and Naughty Amelia Jane by Enid Blyton. I have the novelization of Attack of the Clones, written by Patricia C. Reed, and I've also got a graphic novel of The Empire Strikes Back. And then I have a collection of poetry for kids called Something Big Has Been Here by Jack Preletsky, also one of my most loved books from my childhood, and a book called At Ardilla, or At Ardilla, however you're supposed to pronounce it, I don't know. This book is by Gillian Rubinstein, and I think this book is older than me, and also has been in my family longer than I have. Then I have A Spider in the Library by Margaret Auerbach, The Warlords of Nin by Stephen R. Lawhead, Ballet Shoes by Noel Streatfeild, The Snow Spider Trilogy by Jenny Nimmo, and this Emily the Strange book called The Last Days, but I have no idea of who wrote it. I also have a book called Vicky in Venice by Lorna Hill, and then I have The Hunger Games Catching Fire, and The Hunger Games Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, The Little White Horse by Elizabeth Gouge, The Dead Fathers Club by Matt Haig, The Giver by Lois Lowry, another 5-star read, and The Amulet of Samarkand by Jonathan Stroud. And then I have a little bit of a John Green collection, including The Fault in Our Stars, Looking for Alaska, and Paper Towns. Paper Towns is one of the worst books I have ever read in my life. I hate this piece of shit book. I would put it in the bin if its cover wasn't as gorgeous as it is. And then I have the Divergent series by Veronica Roth, including Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant. I have The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, Down Street by Lawrence Bransby, and Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs, 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher, The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi, and a couple of game books, including Temple of Terror by Ian Livingstone, The Warlock of Firetop Mountain by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone, and Usurper by Mark Smith and Jamie Thompson. Then I have Firebringer and The Sight by David Clement Davies. Firebringer is absolutely a 5-star read and one of the most important books of my childhood. And then I have this little fantasy series that doesn't quite belong on the shelf, but I didn't know where else to put it. It is called The Guardians of the Flame series by Joel Rosenberg, and it includes The Sleeping Dragon, The Sword and the Chain, The Silver Crown, The Heir Apparent, and The Warrior Lives. And then I have a new book, sort of new book, called A Declaration of the Rights of Magicians by H.G. Parry. And then onto the very last shelf, which, like I said, is reference nonfiction and some books that didn't quite fit on the other shelves. So I have got this book about Vincent van Gogh. Yes, that is how you pronounce it, sort of, by Carolyn Earle. And then a book that I cannot pronounce. It's a book about Finland that I got when I was in Finland. And then I have this book on the violin by Hannah Dawson. I have a book of star maps for Southern Africa by Albert Jensen. And then a book called Haya on drawing martial arts figures by Steve Miller. I have the Kurt Cobain journals, this random old atlas, and the ballet book created by the National Ballet School in Canada, I do believe. I have another Spike Milligan book that isn't with the other Spike Milligan books called It Ends with Magic, and then this book, Naar Nederland, which was what I needed when I was going to move to the Netherlands. It's basically just about their language, their culture. You needed to take their, like, immigration test. I forgot what you call it. I have Don't Worry, He Won't Get Foreign Foot by John Callahan, a book I've loved for most of my life. Then I have got a collection of 2 stories, Facing Up and Facing the Frozen Ocean, as well as Mud, Sweat and Tears by Bear Grylls. Mud, Sweat and Tears is one of the nicest books I have ever read in my entire life. I also have The Longest Crawl by Ian Marchand, Designed to Grow, a book about how the Coca-Cola Company dominated the earth by David Butler and Linda Tischler. And then I have The Lorax and The Sneetches and Other Stories by Dr. Seuss. I also have this book called Down to the Sea, part of like some sort of Water Babies series. I have no idea of who wrote it. And I have this really cool book on wizards by John Matthews, Brainmatics, Logic Puzzles by Ivan Moscovich, and I have 2 that I've grouped together here, Danish fairy tales and Scandinavian folk tales. I also have 2 copies of The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame, and Yes Man by Danny Wallace, another book that is a 5-star read. Then I have 2 business books, 90 Rules for Entrepreneurs, a business book written by a South African person, so that's pretty cool. It's by Marnus Brudrijk, and The 5-Minute MBA by Wayne Brown. I have The Life and Times of the Thunderbolt Kid by Bull Bryson, Is It Just Me by Miranda Hart, Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert, A Million Little Pieces by James Frey, and The Wolf of Wall Street by Jordan Belfort. And then I have this photo book on Switzerland, this seriously old book on drawing and sketching by Guy Williams, and this is called A Treasure Chest of Literature. It's got a couple of storybooks in there, very simple, basic storybooks for kids. I've had it for most of my life. I also have a Dutch dictionary and a Finnish phrase book, and then Love Signs and Sun Signs by Linda Goodman, Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell, Ash, A Secret History by Mary Gentle, Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, The Summer of Impossible Things by Rowan Coleman, and then I have a couple of short story collections, including Whisperer in Darkness by H.P. Lovecraft, Wizards of Odd by a whole bunch of fantasy and science fiction writers, and Nine Tomorrows by Isaac Asimov. Then I have also got Galilee by Clive Barker, The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin, a Dutch copy of Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula Le Guin, another really, really old book on drawing, and A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, one of my favorite books in the world, and of course, a 5-star read. So what do you think of my book collection? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, I don't mean to sound like one of those like and subscribe people, but I'm just saying, this isn't actually a booktube channel, so if you are interested in the bookish content that I most certainly will make in future, the only way you're going to know about it is if you subscribe to my channel. I'm just saying. And on that note, I am going to shut up now. I will see you on Saturday. This time, I mean it. Until then... Oh, by the way, I actually forgot to say that if you have done bookshelf tours before, let me know. I would like to see them. I find that... Hey! I just got paid! Today is a good day. Now I'm really going to shut up because I have things to go and buy. Okay, bye!